You just saw part of the trailer from Tower, a largely animated documentary with archival footage. It chronicles a massacre that happened 60 years ago this weekend. The fateful day a man climbed to the top of the UT clock tower and then opened fire. We're going to talk more about that documentary now with the film's director and producer, Keith Maitland, who's over there in the black t-shirt. And he also brought along John Artley Fox, who was a freshman on campus that day and is one of the people featured in the documentary. Welcome to you both. Thanks so much for taking time and being here to talk with us.
Thank you.
Glad to.
Artley, I want to start with you. Before you came in here, you pointed out that some of the footage we were running was you that day. Will you take us back, if you don't mind, to what you experienced that day and what all unfolded for you on campus?
I was on campus to get freshman English out of the way that summer, and there was a morning class and an afternoon class, and between the two, I would go play chess with James Love, who I just graduated from Austin High with. And it came on the radio that somebody was on the tower, and we thought that was more interesting than the chess, so we went to campus. We entered the campus at 22nd, and where the intercampus drive comes out, we walked up, and there was nobody on the streets. And we saw, and there was a guy at the loading dock of the post office saying, get off the streets. And so we went into Sutton Hall and then up to the third floor, and closest to the tower, the windows, we could see out under the canopy of trees, and we saw several people laying on the mall.
Just lying there, right there in front of the tower.
And well, in the middle of the main mall.
Right.
And so we went up there. As we were walking towards there, I saw a policeman in the English building firing a shotgun towards the tower, and I knew even then that a shotgun couldn't reach the tower. I was right there. I was right under the statue of Jefferson Davis, and I was dressed in all black, black trousers and cobalt blue shirt, and with the adrenaline pumping, I was out there for about an hour, seeing Claire and the people, and not being able to help, and so I experienced a minor heat stroke. I got dizzy and nauseous, and I walked in just under some hedges. And when I came back out, I realized that those people out there couldn't do that. They're laying on, it was 100-degree day,
right,
and they were laying on concrete, and every time the tower would sound every 15 minutes. I figured that's another 15 minutes they were out there.
And I understand you were able to help some people who had been hit. Is that right, too?
Yes. There was one fellow that was running, and he ran toward the intercampus drive and then rolled down the stairs. And people came out from both sides to help him. And I realized I was already out from cover by then, and I'd always been looking at Claire because she was obviously pregnant.
Yeah. And
she was moving. Her feet were always, her legs were moving, and from the, I didn't run out from where I was. I went out and then up. So James Love and I ran to the middle of the mall. And I grabbed her ankles, and he grabbed her wrist, and we carried her to safety, which was by the Jefferson Davis statue. It was I had a sort of a Buddy Holly glasses back then, and 2400 and 2100. So I'm blind without my glasses, and I was coming down the stairs holding Claire, and my glasses came off, and so we had to.
You still just kept going.
Yeah, we got her to safety, and then I had to go back out to get my glasses. A bunch of other people were gathered there, and they'd carried Claire back to the ambulance, and there was a Vietnam vet who had carried her boyfriend, Tom Ekman, and who was dead. And I helped carry him to the ambulance once I got my glasses. It was a pretty shocking day.
Yeah, to say the least, for sure. And Keith, I know that this is a story that was included in the documentary Tower that we mentioned a moment ago. That documentary came out 10 years ago.
That's right.
Why was it important for you to, capture some of these stories and share what happened for so many people and the terror really that happened during this time?
Well, for me, I went to UT in the 90s, and I remember when I first attended the university, I was aware of the shooting. I had been told about it in my Texas history class from my Texas history teacher, who, like Artley, was there on campus that day.
Wow.
And so the first I'd ever heard of the story was from a firsthand perspective. It was a perspective that really hit me, and I carried it with me. And when I got to campus, I expected to learn more. I expected to kind of hear the story, get a chance to absorb it, get a chance to acknowledge the tragedy of the day and the loss that the university community felt, and to move forward. And what I learned was that the university didn't have a relationship with sharing that history. There wasn't a plaque on campus. There wasn't a way to pay honor or tribute to the folks that we lost that day. And there wasn't a way for people like Artley, who had been there and who had absorbed the trauma and the tragedy of that day, to kind of put that anywhere, to kind of deal with it or process it. I was inspired by an article in Texas Monthly by the brilliant writer Pamela Koloff that came out in 2006.
Yeah.
And that was the first time I had a chance to hear these different stories. Now, Artley's story isn't in that article. Pam, captured, I think, 30 different perspectives. Artley's story was covered a couple years later, I think, for the first time in the Statesman.
John Kelso.
John Kelso wrote a column, and it was around the time that I was really deciding to make the film that I realized, like Artley, Claire's story is so central because she and Tom were the first people that were shot at from the tower. They played such a prominent visual role in the middle of the mall. Artley is one of thousands of people who were focused on Claire because she was right there in the middle.
Yeah.
Exactly. And as we started gathering footage and collecting stories, the story of Artley really came into focus because, like you mentioned at the top of the segment, there is incredible footage of Artley and James and their act of bravery. Not just one camera, but 3 cameras captured. So it's really captured from every possible angle. And so when I had a chance to meet him and he shared with me the story that he just shared with you, I knew that the story of Claire and the story of Artley were central to the film.
Yeah, to put that out there in this particular documentary. Artley, going back to that moment, I mean, to be able to put yourself in harm's way to try to help somebody else, what was it that motivated you? Can you even remember that feeling, or was it just pure action, wanting to get out there?
Well, it was a feeling of empathy towards people that needed help.
Yeah.
And when I came out from under the hedge and realized that they couldn't do that, it built up even more. She was pregnant. She was shot. I was worried that because she was moving her legs, that he might see her and shoot her again. Huh. So it needed to be done.
Wow. Well, and Keith, you mentioned too that anybody who wants to be able to watch Tower, the documentary, there's a special screening coming up too. So talk about when people can be able to check that out.
Absolutely. The film was released 10 years ago at South by Southwest in conjunction with the 50th anniversary year. This year, as you know, is the 60th anniversary of the shooting, and it's the 10th anniversary of the film. And so Tower has been re-released to art house cinemas across the country. And here in Austin, there's going to be a special screening. Artley's going to be there. Claire is going to be there among others, witnesses and survivors and participants in the film. And that's going to be at Austin Film Society Theater on September 13th.
Okay.
So those tickets go on sale, I think, starting this weekend. And we're really looking forward to getting the folks back together, because for me, the greatest part of making this film was seeing the community emerge of disparate people who all carried their own stories in kind of isolation all these years. Yeah. And during the process, of meeting each other and working together. They all started talking to each other, and they'll get a chance to talk to the community, and that's what we'll do on September 13th.
All right, I think that's a good place to leave our conversation. But Keith, Artley, thank you again for coming in and talking to us and for sharing more of your story. We appreciate it.
Sure.
Thank you.
Right.